people. I hope this finds you well. I may be a minute or two early. I can't see my clock very well. But today I wanted to offer an hour of movement that was not standing and that was relatively gentle for my people who have issues with their knees or with balance. Because I think that there's a lot that we can do in a seated position. There's a lot that we can do laying down that allows for the body to feel better and more relaxed, but doesn't require that we stand up. So if you have issue in your balance, in standing, with joint mobility in your knees, or you have problems in your feet, I'm hoping that today can actually be work that you can use on and on to still move your body, stay connected to yourself, release tension that you may have in your body, but do that without having to load your knees and your ankles and without needing any kind of balance. So today you can see I'm sitting on a bolster because I want to sit in neutral. So you may want to have your bolster. We're definitely going to use a strap. Again, if you don't have a strap, you can use a rope, you can use a belt, you can use a scarf, you can use leggings, you can use pantyhose if you still have any of those, you can use tights. All of those things can be used in place of a strap. You're going to want some sort of towel that you can roll up and use in various ways. And then whatever you're using for a head support and upper shoulder support, that would be good. And we may even use a block. So if you had a book, that would be fine. One of the things that seems to be happening for a lot of people that I'm seeing, even in my within my clients, is that everyone has excessive amounts of head and shoulder tension. So we're going to address that today. We're also going to work a little bit on our core, and then we will work on the legs and the hips in ways that don't require you stand up. So I'm going to be on the floor. I give you permission, if you are not able to get on the floor, to be in a chair or to be optimally like on a bed or near a bed so that you could lay down on a bed when we go to move down onto the floor. But a bed is fine. We're not going to use anything underneath the tush today because the bed is soft. And I want to make sure that everything that we do today is accessible to those people who have issues with their knees. So the first thing that I want to talk about today and that I want us to mobilize is the head and the neck. I strongly suggest that with a lot of neck and shoulder tension, that when you're focusing on the head and the neck, you don't focus on too many of the other parts because the neck obviously is supporting a really heavy piece of your body on top of a very small, narrow, not optimally supported piece of machinery, right? The shoulders and how it connects to the head. It's a relatively delicate part. So anything that we do in the head and for the neck, you do gently, you do only to the extent that it feels comfortable. In this particular case, strong discomfort is not okay with me. So if you go to do something and you feel strong discomfort, I want you to back off of the work just a little bit. So I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see what happens and how I am. Normally I hang out kind of like this, and you can see that this puts my chin forward of my body, right? I think that's probably pretty normal for how everyone's living right now, either between typing and the social media. So we're going to do something called head ramping. And I put little sticky notes all over the house so that I'm reminded to head ramp and to try to remind my body about where my head should be sitting over my body. Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to, well, let's first put your finger on top of your head. most people would put their finger here. But what you can see is this is not the top of my head, because this is not the part of my head that is directly over my spine. My ponytail, it's actually why I started wearing my hair this way, so I could remember where the top of my head was. My ponytail is actually sitting at the top of my head. So we want the top of the head to lengthen towards the ceiling. In order to do that, we're going to bring the head back and then up. So let's do that again. I'm going to bring my head back and then up. And what you can see is I still have a normal curvature in my cervical spine, but now my head is situated over my spine, not hanging out in front, right? So let's just do that 2 more times. We're going to bring it back and up, and then we'll release it, and we'll bring it back and up. Now, you may be feeling some things in your shoulders, in the tops of your shoulders when you do that. Just try to keep your shoulders relaxed as you move your head back and up. So that's head ramping, pretty easy to do. You can put a little sticky note on top of your phone, or a little sticker on your phone, and every time you see it, just remember that optimally we wouldn't be hanging out here, we'd be hanging out up here. Now, I have some clients who get really excited because what they feel when they do that is that they feel like they've got a double chin. What we need to understand is that if we're always going to be like this, we are stretching the tissue of the neck. Yeah? So when you bring it back to a more optimal position, what you notice is that this tissue here goes a little slack. I used to have huge bits of tissue here, but over time that tissue will adjust to the new head position, and you will find that you don't need a facelift, and that the tissue of your chin and neck begin to tighten up to the new position you're holding, which is keeping your head above your spine. But let's address the energy that you were probably feeling through the tops of the shoulders connecting into the head. And let's begin by taking a deep breath and relaxing the shoulders down on top of the rib cage. Do one more for me. Now we're gently going to relax the chin straight down to our chest. Just take a breath and let the back of the head weight forward so that you can relax the chin to the chest, not force the chin to the chest. One more breath. Keeping the chin on the chest, you're going to roll the chin over so that it's pointed down towards the left armpit. You will likely be feeling some stretch in the right side of your neck. Just breathe and allow that to be. Giving some stimulation and love to your neck, sending all that great energy up into your head. Check in and make sure that you're breathing deeply so that the breath in is half as long as the breath out. So we're going to exhale for like 8, you're going to inhale for like 4. You count it out so that you stay relaxed. Keeping the chin at the chest. Inhale. As you exhale, just roll the chin across the chest until the chin is now looking into the right armpit. Check in with your shoulders and make sure that they're still heavy on top of your rib cage. You're likely feeling a stretch now on the left side of the neck. We're going to explore all 3 of the major muscles that support the head on either side. So we're going to explore feeling all of those muscles. And we're going to keep the chin at the chest. Inhale and exhale. Roll the chin across to the left side again, but this time look horizontally over the left shoulder. You're likely feeling a different kind of energy in the right shoulder, a different line of tension. Check in with the shoulders and make sure that they're heavy on top of the rib cage. Keep your breathing nice and steady and even. If you notice that you're holding your breath, make a note in your mind. Holding your breath is not necessary. Let me know about it later. We're going to drop the chin again into the left armpit. Roll the chin across the chest to the right armpit. And this time we'll look horizontally over the right shoulder. Again, you're likely feeling a different line of stretch in the left shoulder. Breathing deeply, relaxing, allowing yourself to be here for this hour with me in your body, recognizing how your body feels and what's happening to your body, being present, giving yourself this gift of time, giving your body this gift of time. We'll drop the chin into the right armpit, roll it across the chest to the left armpit again, and this time we're going to look up over the left shoulder. And again, you're going to feel a very different line of energy on the right side of your neck and shoulder. Deep breath. Don't force it, right? Only go as far as you can. Just explore and allow the sensations to happen. We don't need to push them or force them. There's no right or wrong. There's just your experience. That's all. Deep breath. We'll look down into the left armpit. Roll the chin across the chest into the right armpit. And then look up over the right shoulder. You should be feeling a stretch on the left side of your neck and shoulder. I feel this a little bit more in my clavicle, the bone at the top of the front of the chest. You may feel it there, you may feel it someplace else. Make a mental note, right? This is what your body is saying to you as you move in regular, normal ranges of motion. So it's good to notice. Deep breath. And this time we'll return the head to straight ahead. So you got to experience all sorts of movement and love in the head and in the tops of the shoulders. Let's just give the shoulders a little bit of interesting energy by talking to the nervous system. You know, because we're all breast cancer survivors, just how much innervation happens in the chest and in the armpit. What we're going to do is we're going to take our arms straight out away from the body. I'm going to move over so you can see. We're going to flatten the palm of the hand and try to pull the middle finger back towards your ear. Yeah? You're likely going to feel a very nervy sensation there. That's okay. We're stretching the nerves. Isn't it nice to be able to talk to the nervous system? Pulling the fingers back, stretching the palms away. Deep breath. Letting it be, letting it happen. See if you can create energy away from the spine. One more deep breath. So if you've been texting or doing a lot of work with your arms and sitting kind of slouched, that's a really nice innervation all the way into the head. My shoulders already feel a bit better. I hope that yours do too. We're going to take the right arm out to the side. And I want you to move from the shoulder. We're going to roll the shoulder over and come back and set it down. And roll the shoulder over and come back and set it down. Just take a look at your shoulder and see whether you're actually pulling what's in the back around to the front. That's what we want to happen. But I know that a lot of people end up moving their hand and their forearm a lot and not actually moving from the shoulder. So we're going to do 3 more. Again, you're going to continue to breathe deeply. It's all relaxing. We're just mobilizing joints. Right? For my folks with bad knees and or hips, right? This is really good movement that you can do that will relax you, that doesn't load you in a way that might be too challenging, right? So just relax the arm and see how that feels. You can see that my right shoulder is already lower than my left shoulder. So let's even ourselves up by doing the left side. Again, we're going to take what's on the back and we're going to roll it to the front. And this way we just get to practice ranges of motion that are valuable for the shoulder, for the arm, for the neck. The body likes it when you talk to it. And movement is the language that the body speaks. It's the language that you have access to. It's the way that you can help your body to be more relaxed and healthier, better circulation, definitely better lymph flow, which is really important for all of us. We'll just do 3 more. Breathing deeply, checking in and seeing, did this make you need to hold your breath? That's just something to note. Excellent. How'd that feel? I hope that felt good. Oh, I'm much more even. I hope you're more even too. Let's go ahead and experience all the parts of the rotator cuff, right? The inner part and workings of the shoulder and arm that keep your arm on your body. So really, really healthy, good parts of the body. We're going to go ahead and bend the arms like you're holding a platter. You're going to pull the arms forward in such a way that it actually pulls the shoulder blades wide. So I want you to feel it happening from the back. Yeah? The shoulder blade just sits encased in muscle, so we want to make sure that it is our point of focus because we have the most control over our muscles. And so it's a bone that we have a lot of control over. So we've pulled the shoulder blades wide, we're holding a platter, we're just going to rotate the arm open, keeping the elbows relatively still. We're just trying to rotate the humerus. When we move bones, when we talk about bones, we don't have to talk about all the individual muscles. They just come along for the ride. So it's an easy way for us to have a conversation about movement and what's happening in the body. And we'll just do 3 more. You may be feeling a bit of tension in the fronts of the shoulders. You may be feeling a bit of tension in the back of the upper arm. Just make note and see if you can move in a range of motion that's comfortable, but also is aware of what's happening. We'll do 1 more. This time, you're going to open, bringing the arms a bit away from the body. And now I want you to roll the thumb to the floor behind you. You're likely feeling a pretty good stretch as you roll the thumbs to the floor behind you. Take some deep breaths and just allow that muscle work to happen. We're breathing. Notice how steady your breath can be. Notice where the breath is flowing. Can you, with all the energy you've created in your armpit, can you use that energy to feel the ribs breathe into that energy and pull away so that the ribs are breathing wide and narrow? One more deep breath. We're going to go ahead and take our right arm. We're going to put it on the left side of our face. And very gently, keeping the left arm where we put it, with the thumb rolled to the back, we're going to let the right arm just weight the head away from the left shoulder. I'm feeling a nice stretch to the back of my upper arm on the left, as well as feeling a nice stretch in my neck. No pulling, no tugging, no force, all gentle. We'll bring the right arm back. Again, you want the shoulder blade wide, you want the thumb rolled to the back behind you. We're going to create that energy. We're going to take the left hand and put it on the right side of the face. And again, just let the weight of the left arm tilt the head away from the right shoulder. Feeling a nice stretch in the neck, a nice stretch in the arm. Deep breath. One more deep breath. And relax the arms. Just kind of shake them out and see how they feel. Maybe they feel a little bit more loose. Maybe there are parts that spoke to you that you want to let me know about later. Just make a mental note. It's all about noticing what happens so that we can understand whether that's conducive to our joint health or whether it's something we need to work on. We're going to do genie arms now. Again, we're still working the rotator cuff. You're going to bring your arm up kind of like a genie. That's why I call it the genie move. You're again going to pull the arm out of the body, hopefully without twisting or moving the spine, right? So we've created what I call an egg hole by pulling the shoulder blade wide. And now we're just going to rotate the arm up towards the ceiling. Pretty easy, right? But by moving the bones, there are a whole bunch of muscles that we're moving in and around the armpit that are bringing circulatory energy to the armpit and therefore the lymph. We'll just do 5 more. Breathing. Don't forget to breathe. I shouldn't say 5 more because then I forget how many we did. I get to talking and teaching and I forget. All right, 1 more. All right, maybe you were counting and you've already stopped. Let that arm relax. Let's bring the left arm up into genie. Let's pull the shoulder blade wide, creating that egg hole and energy in the armpit. And again, we'll just rotate the humerus up towards the ceiling. Deep breath. I think I have 3 more in me. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. So how did that feel? Yeah, my arms are already feeling really nicely warmed up. Okay, 2 more aspects of the shoulder girdle. You're going to bring your elbows up so that they are even across. We're going to feel the shoulder blades pull wide, so you may need to bring your arms a little forward of your body. Totally okay. And this time we're going to rotate up towards the ceiling. You can feel the shoulder blade stays wide, but comes down the back a bit and then back up. Just notice, can you feel your shoulder blade? If you bring your mind's eye into the shoulder blade area, can you feel that there's movement there? Some people can't, some people can. No harm, no foul, right? It's all good. You're just noticing what your mind can connect to. And we'll do 3 more. 3, 2, and last one. Very, very nice. Excellent. We're going to take our left arm. You're going to kind of bring it down over your right knee. We're going to make a fist, and your thumb is going to be pointed away from the midline of the body. We're going to just bring the arm up, but as we do it, we want to rotate so that the thumb goes from pointing out to pointing straight back. There's a bit of rotation that's happening there. We want to encourage that rotation. If you are very tight in your shoulders, you may notice that when your arm comes up, it comes way out to the side. That's okay. Just see what happens as you go. These are both an awareness movement, right? Bringing awareness to how you move, as well as corrective movement that helps you move better as you do it. So you may find that as you do this with me, you're getting better and better at your range of motion and better able to keep your head closer to your ear. Or not. Either's okay. The more you do it, the better you get at it, right? Our body gets good at what it practices. And last one here. Excellent. Let's do the other side. Thumb straight out, away from the midline of the body, and we're going to lift it up, and the thumb's going to go straight to the back. You may notice, as I do, that my left and my right arm feel very, very different. My right arm feels very capable. I am right-handed, and I use it for everything because I'm right-handed. My left arm, not so much. You may find that's the same for you. Just notice. We'll do 4 more. 4, 3. Notice if the shoulder's coming up by your ear. Again, just worth noting, right? How do I move my arm and what moves when I'm moving my arm? Excellent. We're going to go ahead and clasp the hands. I'm going to note that my right pinky is to the front. That's how I clasp my hands. We're going to go ahead and turn the hands around. The elbows are going to stay slightly bent and soft, and I just want you to push the hands away from you. Hopefully you can see so that the fingers dome away. Notice if you have to straighten your arms to do that, and go ahead and soften the arms so that the energy is really between the wrists and the fingers. Go ahead and see, can you get your thumbs to point straight downward? Just take some deep breaths and feel the hand stretch. Right? We're doing a lot of really small work with our hands right now as we all text and engage in social media. Last deep breath, relaxing the fingers away, allowing them to stretch, thumbs straight down. You're going to turn your hands back around, and for me, I need to slide my right hand up. My goal is to put the other pinky, right, my left pinky to the front. We don't usually clasp our hands in different ways using the non-dominant hand. Relax your shoulders away from your ears if you found that they have crept up. Keep the elbows bent and see if you can stretch the fingers and the wrists with the thumbs straight down. Nice deep breaths, relaxing. My teachers always used to say, smile, make it look like somebody would want to join you. I feel a really deep stretch here. 1 more. Excellent. And go ahead and shake that out and see how that feels. Right? That was a huge stretch. The palm of the hand has a lot of excess tissue because they're designed to help you grip as you swing across the jungle from vines. Yeah? It's more suited for that than for our modern life. I'm going to go ahead now and have you help yourself down onto the floor so that we can work a bit on the legs and the hips. Go ahead and grab your strap just in case you need it. Gently help yourself down. I always recommend using your arms. There's no sense in straining to get down onto the floor. And then roll onto your back, right? You should have your prop, whatever you're using, towel, pillow, whatever you need. The goal is twofold. First, that our chin relaxes down onto our chest without any strain or without any work involved, right? It's just relaxed. The top of our shoulders are probably going to be lifted off the floor because what we really want are the bottom ribs to be gently into the surface below you. So if you're on a bed, that is totally okay. You just want to make sure that you're propped in your head and shoulders in such a way that the ribs are pointed downward. Yeah? Let's just review. In this position, we would want our ribs pointed downward and the back rib into the surface. And then we want to check in with the pelvis. In a perfect world, you would put your finger on your pubic bone, right? Just above all the fun stuff. Your finger on the hip bone. And those 2 points would live on the same plane, completely parallel to the floor, right? That's what we're looking for here. Let's go ahead now and bring our feet and our legs together. And let's just open the knees only so much as we can let the inside edge of our foot come off the floor. So that's going to look, I'm going to do this way so that you can see, right? My knees and my feet are together. I'm going to open up the knees, and I'm going to let the inside edge of my foot come off the floor, but I'm not going to drop the feet open, right? We're just going to keep the inside edge of the foot off. Take some deep breaths and see, what are you feeling here, right? In this position, the thighs have kind of rolled open, and you may be feeling a really strong stretch into the inner thigh. Check and see, in getting into this position, did the pelvis come out of that neutral position that we talked about, right? Is the pubic bone pointed down? Do you find that your ribs are doming towards the ceiling? See if you can adjust yourself so that those points stay in the trunk where we put them and the legs still experience the stretch. Take some deep breaths. Allow the body to sink into the floor. Give the quads a little bit of a squeeze in energy and see, is there excessive energy in the leg that you used to do this that isn't necessary? You may find that there's a bit of extra release by contracting and releasing. More breathing. We're going to take our right leg now, and we're going to bring it up onto the left shin, staying in this same position. If that is too much of a stretch for you, slide the foot towards the ankle and just let the right foot sit on top of the left ankle. Staying in the same position, you're likely feeling a more intense stretch into the right leg. You may also be feeling a whole bunch of sensations in the left leg because the left leg is now weighted by the right. And just breathe and see if you can relax here. Letting the body settle into the ground in any place that it can. Notice if the chest is lifting towards the ceiling. That may mean that you need to be higher up on whatever you're using to prop yourself. Take another deep breath, and we'll bring the right foot down onto the floor, back to that original position. And now we'll take the left leg, and we'll bring the left leg up onto the right shin. Again, if that's too intense for you or this bothers your knees, first, your feet don't have to be so close to you. They can be farther away. You also are welcome to drop the left foot onto the right ankle instead of farther up the leg. Both are fine. This shouldn't be too strenuous on the knees. If you were to find it too strenuous on the knees, you can always take whatever you have available, a pillow or something like that, and you can just stick it underneath the knee and prop yourself, right? That sometimes can help the body relax because it doesn't have to do any work to maintain the position. We're taking some deep breaths and just allowing the body to sink into the floor. Last deep breath. We'll bring the left leg back into its original position so that our big toes are touching, the inside edges of the feet are touching. Just take one more moment here with the legs open. See how that feels. Make a note. And we'll go ahead and put our feet back in the floor. I'm going to back up a little bit so that I'm even more on the screen. Okay, so let's just notice, right? The pelvis is in neutral, the ribs are into the floor. Let's just bring our mind's eye into our abdominals, right? On Buddha Belly, we've talked a lot about breathing. Optimally, we've talked about the abdominal tissue needing to do abdominal work. So it cannot be engaged in doing all of the movement to breathe because then it can't do what it needs to do to stabilize the spine. So just take your hands and bring them to either side of your ribs with your thumbs to the back so you can feel what's happening there. And let's just inhale and exhale and see what happens. Are the ribs moving to take a breath? As you breathe, Does the chest need to lift away from the floor and back down? Or can the movement be more wide and narrow? Just make a note of what's happening. We'll bring your right hand down to the bottom part of your abdominals and the left hand to the upper part of the abdominals. Again, take a breath and notice what the belly does in reaction to the inhale and exhale. So just make a mental note of what is happening to your abdominals as you take a breath, and see if the belly is driving the breathing and the ribs are going along for the ride, or the ribs are doing the breathing and the belly is going along for the ride. One of the things that makes it challenging to do really quality abdominal work is that we hold a lot of abdominal pelvic pressure. So again, bring your hands back to the belly and just take a moment and bear down like you're going to take a really good poop, right? You can feel underneath your hands that the belly gets very firm, almost like you're creating a muscle contraction, but you know that that's not the case. You know that it's really just pressure and energy. We're going to try and eliminate that through the cycle of our breath by using a little trick. We're going to exhale using a little bit of percussion, and I want you to pretend as you exhale, you know those windmills that kids can hold on to, pinwheels, and you blow it and the little thing spins? I want you to pretend that you have one of those. Bring your hand back to the belly, inhale, and as you exhale, make a little sound. Pretend that you can blow out the pinwheel, that you can make it turn. Inhale again, and exhale and make the pinwheel spin. See if what you're feeling underneath your hands in your belly as you do this is softening, allowing the abdominal skin to settle in more towards the ground. Just notice if that's something that you can do. One more breath, give it another try. Excellent. We're going to let one knee come up into a position we call tabletop. And then we're going to bring the other knee up, right? The knees should be focused up straight towards the ceiling. You can relax the bottom part of the leg now as we're more interested in what's happening in the thighs. Bring your fingers to the sit bones, those bones at the bottom of your tush. In a perfect world, those bones would be pointing towards your heels. We're going to narrow those bones by opening the legs, and we're going to consciously widen those bones as the legs come back together. So narrowing those bones, you can feel them draw together, and then widen those bones as the legs come back in. We're going to take and use the breath now along with that motion. So we're going to inhale, and the legs are going to open. We're going to exhale, and the legs are going to close. You may notice that the sit bones narrow as the ribs widen, and then the ribs narrow as the sit bones widen. You're kind of making an angle in how the energy flow in the body is moving. Inhale, the legs open. Exhale to close. Inhale, open. Exhale to close. Last one, inhale, open. Exhale to close. So we're mobilizing the pelvic floor, that oval shape that the baby comes out of. It's actually called the obstetrical conduit. Yeah, okay. It's where the baby comes out, you know. We're going to move the pelvic floor in lots of different directions now, simply by moving the legs. I don't really care how you move them. I just want you to move them at angles from your center line. So my right knee is coming up kind of near my right armpit. My left leg is drawing away. And then I'm reversing that just to mobilize the pelvic floor, right? A tight pelvic floor or a loose pelvic floor means we pee when we sneeze. We want the pelvic floor to have appropriate tone and energy. And this is kind of stretching that oval-shaped part of our body in lots of different ways. And we'll just do one more in each direction. Excellent. You can bring one foot down and then the other. Just notice now that you have moved that part of your body, you should notice, or you may notice, that there's a feeling of aliveness and energy in your hip flexors. This part of you right here. You may notice that you're now very aware of your pelvic floor, the bottom part. Yeah? Just check in and notice. Give the sphincter a little squeeze, right? Your tushy hole. And then see, are you able to pull up the clitoris without moving the tushy hole? I know, that's new, right? Whoever thinks about bobbing your clitoris. Optimally, we would be able to move the front of the pelvic floor and the back of the pelvic floor separately and differently, or one would lead and the other would follow. So just an interesting piece of awareness into parts of us that have muscles you don't go to the gym to work out, right? We're going to go ahead and take our strap, whatever you're using as a strap, a rope, scarf, whatever you have. We're going to take the left leg down into the floor. We're going to put the right foot into the strap. And the first thing I'd like you to do is just take it straight up to the ceiling. See if you can make the foot flat, right? You likely are experiencing now a good amount of stretch into the back of the leg. Notice, can you straighten the leg in this position? Interesting, is the left leg coming off the floor in order to put the right leg in this position? A lot of times that indicates that the quadriceps, the front of the legs, are a little tight. That's okay, no worries, we're sitting a lot, so that's bound to have happened. Allow the stretch to happen in the right leg for just another minute. See if you can relax into the stretch. See if the leg straightens. We're going to take the right leg now down towards the floor enough that the left leg feels grounded into the floor. I'm going to do it this way so that you can see my foot. We want to pull the toes with the strap back towards our face and ask the heel to draw away from us so that the foot is nicely angled. And you are going to extend the heel as far away from the head as you possibly can, recognizing that if we're really trying to stretch the leg, the whole right butt cheek is going to have to move away from the right rib, right? Our legs do not insert themselves in the bottom of us. Our trunk is actually about 3 inches, more like 3 inches, 3 inches longer than where the leg inserts itself, right? The leg inserts itself way up here, even though my butt cheek is much longer. Yeah, longer. That's the word I'll use. Okay, so the toes are pulling back. You are likely feeling a very big stretch into the back of the knee, which has done a great job in shortening itself to allow you to sit more comfortably for a lot longer. We would like that muscle to remember that in addition to bending and bringing the calf closer to the thigh, we would also like it to let go to allow our legs to be straight. Take one more relaxing breath here, and now we will move the right leg across the left, just enough that we can feel a stretch, not enough that the right hip lifts off the floor. And again, lengthen the right hip away from the rib cage. Ask the toes to pull back towards your head while the heel drives away. Liable to have a pretty good intense stretch through the calf and the back of the knee now. Really good for knee health. right? The legs should be straight optimally more of the time than we generally keep it bent. Bent knees are not really great for the knee joint. Deep breaths and relaxing. And then let's just take our right leg down into the floor. Oh, my right leg feels so much longer than my left. I really love that stretch. The whole right side of my body feels more relaxed into the floor. Let's go ahead and take the left leg. We put it in the strap again. Let's take it straight up to the ceiling and let's just see how tight it is. Oh, my hamstrings are good and tight. I don't know about you. I sat way too much on Sunday and I am still suffering the consequences. Just remember, just because you're sitting in a chair doesn't mean the legs can't be straight. If you sit at the front edge of the chair, every now and then just straighten your legs if you're a chair sitter, just so that the legs remember that they should be long and have the ability to straighten completely. The foot is very flat. You're breathing and trying to relax. We'll take the leg out now, pulling the toes back towards our face, extending the heel away, asking the left hip to travel away from the left rib so that we can be really long on our left side. We're relaxing and breathing. Again, you're likely to be feeling a nice strong stretch into the calf behind the knee. If that's not where you're feeling this stretch, just remember to ask me later about what's happening in your body. You're unique. These movements should work for you. And most of them are just about gentle explorations of range of motion. So however you engage them is exactly how you engage them. No good, no bad, just you. That's all we need. You trying. In most cases, these movements improve your range of motion the more you do them. So they're nice assessments, but they're also correctives. Take one more deep breath here, and then we'll take the left leg across the right leg. Again, still pulling the toes back towards the face, extending the heel away, taking the whole left hip as far from the left rib as we can, keeping our side leg long. We'll just take 2 or 3 more breaths here. And then we'll relax our left leg down into the floor. Oh, that's lovely. How does your leg feel? I hope that feels better. We are going to take our right leg. I'm going to do it this way for a second so that you can see. We're going to take our right leg out about a foot, and you're going to go ahead and cross the left leg over the right. We are doing that, you want to do that to such an extent that it is challenging to cross the left foot over the right ankle, but not to the extent that it hurts or you're taking yourself into anything that feels really dramatic. So challenging, but not impossible. Yeah? Now you're going to take your left arm and you're going to take it up over your head in such a way that you are actually, I think I should do it this way so that you can see. I am making a crescent shape with my body. In a perfect world, my ribs would be staying on the floor, my hips would be staying parallel to the floor, but I would be able to flex my spine in this way. Just allow the whole left side to grow long. We're breathing, we're relaxing. You may feel a really long stretch in the IT band. Depending on where you are and how you feel, you may be feeling a big stretch into the upper part. Just notice, where do you feel tense? Can you release the tension by bringing your mind's eye into that part of the body and just giving the body permission to relax by taking a really nice deep breath? Okay, bring yourself back to center. Just let your legs be long and see, how do your legs feel? Does the left side of your body feel any more connected, feel any longer than the right side? By pausing in between left and right side, it's a really nice way of teaching your body and your brain the value of the work that you're doing, because the body can experience the difference between the right and the left side. We'll take our left leg over about a foot away from the right. We'll cross the right ankle over the left ankle, and then we'll take our right arm up and overhead, creating a crescent shape with our body. Breathe deeply. Check in with your pelvis and make sure that it's parallel to the floor. Check in with your rib cage and make sure that even though it has flexed towards the left, that it is also still as flat in the floor as you can make it. See what happens when you bring your mind's eye into the right rib, and see if you can make the right rib breathe and exhale and move with every breath. You should have a little bit easier access to the ribs with the arm up overhead and stretching the side. See if that's the case for you. See if the mind is used to making the rib cage move as you breathe. Maybe you're a belly breather. Take one more deep breath. And we'll bring the body back to center. Just notice how you feel. Notice how long your legs might be. Notice, are the backs of your thighs resting into the mat? Is that different than it was when we started doing some of these movements? Have you created some length? We're going to go ahead now and take our right leg up into that tabletop position. The left leg is still long and into the floor. And we're just going to go ahead and take the right leg and flip it over the body so that we twist. Yeah? So now your left leg is straight and you're facing the left. Take your right arm and allow the arm to open up the chest so that the chest is going a bit more towards the ceiling. If you cannot rest your right knee in the floor, that's okay. Let it come up off the floor a bit. What we want you to do is we want you to bring the right arm out long, and you'll notice I'm kind of doing it off camera a little bit. It comes up next to my ear and it comes down kind of like you're doing a half a snow angel. And just allow the chest on the right to stretch open. Allow the body to twist. No forcing, right? If the right knee won't come into the floor, that's fine. If the chest won't open very much, that's fine too. Just in experiencing this movement, a whole bunch of ranges of motion are getting worked, and you are twisting. That's all we need. I think of twisting as like wringing out my energy. I find twisting very helpful in times of stress. We'll just move the arm up and down just a couple more times, breathing. And now we'll roll back onto our back and notice what we've done. Oh my goodness, I would have thought that all that leg work made my right side really long, but just that little bit of work for me made my right leg feel about 2 inches longer than my left. Notice how it made you feel. Okay, we need to make ourselves even. So we'll take the left leg up into tabletop. Our right leg is long and in the floor. We're going to take our left leg. We're just going to drop it over so that we are twisted. If it doesn't come into the floor, again, that's okay. You're going to take your left arm, and now we're going to snow angel the left arm all the way up to our head and down to the floor. Really, really important for the abdominals that they are able to contract into this position as well as release into this position. If you note that your low back is creating any kind of issue for you, you can untwist a little bit in this position. Some of the reason that that's happening is likely that the hamstrings and the back of the legs have gotten tight and are manipulating the pelvis. Make note of that for me and let me know after class so that tomorrow's work we can focus a little bit more on those lines of energy. And we're just breathing and noticing what happens while we breathe. Oh, that feels good. And one more sweep of the arm. Excellent. We'll come back down onto our back. Oh, I feel nice and long and flat. The backs of my thighs have relaxed now. My pelvis is still in neutral, right? My pubic bone and my hip bone are still parallel to the floor. My ribs are happy to be relaxed into the floor. Let's finish off this hour with a bit of bridging. So in bridging, I don't like the head to be supported. If you feel like you need it, that's okay. You may notice that as we move into our bridging, you don't need it as much. Feel free to take it away if that is something that would feel better for you. We don't really want the neck getting jerked around in this position. Like your chin is only going to be pointed up to the ceiling for a short period of time. I want to make sure I'm on camera. Our feet are flat into the floor. Just take a second and feel your feet. Recognize that they're there. In a perfect world, the shin would be vertical and perpendicular to the ground. If your knees are challenged or bad, there is no reason that you need to create that much flexion in the knees. So you can relax the feet farther away from the tush. I'm going to bring them up because that's where I work best. My pelvis is still in neutral. My arms are going to be long at my sides with my palms up to the ceiling. Remember that bridging is about using the abdominals to move the spine. The abdominal muscles are stabilizers and movers of the spine. So we're going to use our abdominals, particularly the rectus, the six-pack. We're going to inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to tilt the pubic bone up towards the ceiling, pushing our lumbar spine into the surface below us. Push the heels down into the ground to begin lifting the spine off the floor, one vertebra at a time. Let the tushy and the legs lengthen so that they feel as if they are moving over the feet just a bit. We're going to come all the way up to the shoulder blades. I don't like to come any farther. I don't think that there's any reason to manipulate the head that way. So we're just going to hang out there for a moment. Inhale. Exhale and begin to put the spine down one vertebra at a time. You'll notice how slow I'm going because I really want to hit every vertebra. My pelvis is tucked in this position as I go to put my spine down. I'm imagining I can draw my pelvis or pull my pelvis farther away from my head and shoulders. The lumbar spine hits the floor or the surface, and then the lumbar spine gently lifts up off the surface as my sacrum relaxes into the floor. Let's try that again. Inhale, exhale, and tilt the pubic bone up, dropping the lumbar spine into the surface below you. The heels push down into the surface below you to lift the spine and the body up off the floor, one vertebra at a time. Take a moment and feel the length we're trying to create in the thighs and in opening up the hip flexors. Take a deep breath. Take another, and on the next exhale, begin to put down the spine one vertebra at a time. Notice if there are parts of your spine that all seem to come down into the surface together. That would mean an inarticulation of different vertebrae. And that's just something good to notice about the spine. The lumbar spine hits the floor, and then we roll the lumbar spine off the floor as the tailbone and sacrum roll back into neutral. Excellent. Final time. Inhale, exhale, push the heels down into the ground, tuck the tush, lifting the pelvis, and coming up one vertebra at a time. You may notice your glutes at this point. Notice you don't need to squeeze the glutes for them to feel like they're working, right? They just do their job when they're in the right position in space. Inhale at the top of your bridge. Exhale, putting down the spine one vertebra at a time, and see if the abdominals can release enough that you can feel as if you are pulling the pelvis farther away from the rib cage as you set the spine down one vertebra at a time. The lumbar spine sinks into the floor and then rolls off the floor as the sacrum grounds itself and the pelvis comes into neutral. Take a deep breath. Inhale the arms up over the chest. Draw the hands towards the ceiling, pulling the shoulder blades wide, and then let the shoulders sink back into the floor. One more time. Draw the shoulder blades wide, sending the hands towards the ceiling, and let the arms and the shoulders sink back in. Just take the arms up overhead. Stretch out the legs straight down into the floor, and just see how long you can make the body. I don't even care if the shoulders come up by the ears. Just give yourself a good long stretch and then relax. You can gently help yourself up. So for my peeps who have bad knees and were being challenged by the work that we were doing standing up, I hope that that was a nice hour for you of relaxation and release. I hope that you got to explore all of your ranges of motion in lots of your parts. If that created any issue for you that you want to share with me, I hope that you will. If it highlighted something that you'd like to work on more tomorrow, let me know. I'm open to suggestions, and I will see you tomorrow at noon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.